We're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another thrilling edition of Talkin' Sports with Jim and... Bob! Thank you, Bob. Bob, you're calling in where from?
I'm sorry, what?
Where are you calling in from, Bob?
Beautiful Brown Deer, Wisconsin.
Well, is that located outside Milwaukee?
It is in Milwaukee, hey, in the north side.
And Bob, we have some exciting news to share with our listeners tonight.
We have a special guest.
And who would that be, and what would you like to share about our special guest?
Well, he's from the famous North Shore Bronson family of great athletes and coaches. Jim Bronson.
Welcome, Jim. Well, that's very exciting. And Jim, where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Fox Point, Wisconsin, which is north of Milwaukee and east of Brown Deer.
Now, let me digress for one moment here. Jim, you know a little bit about basketball, right? You played it for a while.
I did.
Now, let me ask both of you. Okay, who do you think is the greatest guard to ever don a Milwaukee Buck uniform? Some might argue the greatest guard of all time.
In a Bucks uniform?
No, well, in a Bucks uniform, but also, who might be the greatest? He might also be the greatest guard of all time, perhaps. One of the greatest.
Hey, Oscar Robertson.
Thank you, Jim. You gave me an entree. Bob, what's your take on that?
That would be my vote.
What about
the only guy to average a triple-double for the first 3 years he was in the NBA, which most people can't even comprehend that nowadays. That's
amazing. Now, I might go with Flynn Robinson, but we'll leave that for another segment.
That's Electric Eye.
That's the Electric Eye. Now, fans or listeners, Jim and Bob, I was going through some files the other day, and I came across a letter. Jim, you know that I don't throw anything out, right?
We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've helped you move, so we know that.
Well,
yeah.
Actually, and that's a good thing.
Flights of stairs really cause problems.
Third floor walk-ups in Chicago. But, gentlemen, if I could be serious for a second, I came across a letter my mother wrote me back when I was at St. Norbert College in the date is January 23rd, 1974.
Wow.
Yes. Now, can I read one paragraph to you from that letter?
Yes, you may.
This is from my mother. Well, wrong paragraph, sorry. The enclosed is funny. I helped the Big O's wife figure how much wallpaper she needed, and the drawing was done by no less than the Big O himself. Thought you would get a big kick out of that. She is absolutely beautiful and lovely. Now, gentlemen, you cannot see this, but our listeners at home can. I am showing you a drawing of the Big O's house in Glendale that had the specifications for the wallpaper that the Big O's wife ordered from my mom, who worked at a wallpaper store, Silver Spring Paint, remember that, in Glendale. Now, this is all in the Big O's handwriting, and on the back are some calculations done by the Big O.
That is amazing.
Gentlemen, is that not amazing?
Yes.
You have found a gold mine there, Jim.
Well, I think I have. So I can make photocopies if you like, gentlemen. I'd be happy to send that to you.
Could I give you a mother story, too?
Oh, yeah.
I remember one time, I'm not sure if Jim was in Cedarburg or I think you were in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And I get a call from your mother, where is Jim? I thought he was supposed to be home. I think you were about 30 years old at the time. I said, well, maybe he got stuck in traffic because, Chicago has bad traffic once in a while and everything.
Right.
But she called me about 4 times.
And why didn't you know where I was, Jim? I can't believe you didn't know exactly.
Well, I think this was before cell phones.
Yes, and each call she was a little bit more distressed, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a little more distressed and everything, but eventually you made it, and I said, Chicago does have traffic, and sometimes, it eventually worked out fine, but boy.
Yeah. Now, Jim, does Big O play into that story at all, or that was just something...
that was a sidetrack, I'm sorry.
Sidetrack. Okay, well, that's a good one. Thank you. Now, gentlemen, this is my last show and tell, and then I'm going to turn it over to Bob Keene, who's going to lead us on some hard-hitting sports talk. But I have in my hand, and again, I'm so sorry, you gentlemen cannot see this. It is a letter on Green Bay Packers stationery, dated July 24th, 1973, addressed to me, 434 West Riverfront Drive in Milwaukee. Dear Jim, and I'm just reading from the letter, thank you for your letter regarding the possibility of becoming a water boy for the Green Bay Packers. I'm afraid we don't have any need for someone in that category now. We do, however, greatly appreciate your interest in the Green Bay Packers. Kind regards, sincerely, Bob Harlan, Assistant General Manager.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. I think given my current situation, I might want to write another letter asking if the Packers need a water boy. So, anyway, gentlemen, that's what I had on my, I'm just looking here, I met with my program staff, which is actually Jenny, this afternoon. Those are the items that we came up with, and I would just mention, the big news here last week, as you know, was, I think both you guys know, there's no bigger NHL hockey fan than me. I think you'd agree on that.
You're the biggest NHL hockey fan?
Oh, Jim, huge. And do you know the LA Kings won the Stanley Cup last week?
I heard that.
Yes. That was very exciting. No, actually, I don't follow hockey that closely. But nonetheless, it was very exciting. So, Bob, with that, and finally let me share one final thing. Jim, the last time Bob and I did a Talkin' Sports session, we had one follower, one subscriber on YouTube.
Wow.
And do you know what we've done since then, Jim? We've doubled our numbers.
2?
We now have 2 subscribers. Do you know who they might be?
I have no idea.
Well, my brother Dale.
Oh, your brother Dale. That's great.
And none other than... Bob, are you still with us?
Yes,
Bob, you're the second subscriber.
I thought I subscribed to that.
So,
I didn't know if I counted because I'm actually at both ends. So
yeah, Bob, we're counting you, believe me. So, okay. Jim, here's a challenge. We need it. So, Jim, we hope that you and Linda will also join us on YouTube as a subscriber.
Okay.
All right.
I got to get my computer to work.
So, Bob, let me segue over to you now to start asking the hard-asking questions here about talking sports.
Well, let's start with, I guess, the NBA playoffs, which I see the Heat won tonight, Game 3.
Oh, did they really?
Yes.
Darn, I'm pulling for Oklahoma City.
Tough choice. I don't like LeBron or Dwayne Wade played for Marquette. It's
It's a toss-up.
You got some of the best young players in the NBA right now in this series. No doubt about that.
I thought the Bucks had the best young players.
Well,
isn't Brandon Jennings one of the best young players? But you know what?
I'm sure they'll get a really good player in this draft and turn everything around for next year. No, I've come to the conclusion the Bucks are very much like the Brewers. Until Herb Cole doesn't own them anymore, they're just going to be mediocre. And all the years that I grew up, where they kept winning championships in their division and couldn't quite make it to the finals, but they won 50 to 55 games a year. That seems so long ago.
Unfortunately, I'm going to interject here. The NBA does not want the little team to win, and they're never going to win unless they become like professional football.
Well, that's true.
And baseball is going to be the same way, too. So unless everyone has equal money...
Better chance, because Selig's the commissioner, and I think he feels for that situation a little more than maybe in basketball, where they're just looking at money all the time.
Well...
Which is true of any sport, really, but...
but there's an exception. Oklahoma is the exception, but that was a Seattle team.
Right. Occasionally you have teams that sort of come up and win, but yeah, I just think I'm surprised that they didn't let the Lakers get Paul in that trade this year, because I thought they'd just be reloading the Lakers. It just seems like, you go back over the years, you had Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West, and then they had a couple of down years, and all of a sudden Kareem's out there, and then they sort of lose a couple players, and all of a sudden they get Magic Johnson, and then Kareem retires, and then they get Shaquille O'Neal, and, but we'll see what happens.
Bucks will never win an NBA title. Unfortunately.
Well, I'd have to agree with you. I'd like to see them actually play a little better and get in the playoffs.
I don't think it's pretty hard with the way the system's set up. And they're gonna draft 12, and there's only 2 plays that are worth, that are any good in this draft, so they're not going anywhere. So you can't trade anyone because you're trading dollars for dollars or bad apple for bad apple in the NBA. So
is Paul Mokeski still playing for the Bucks?
I think, isn't he coaching?
I think so. Is he? I don't know, Bob.
I think he was coaching for an NBA team. I'm not sure.
I think he goes. Now I can recall being in the arena in a Bucks playoff game when he went crazy and the whole crowd was going Mo, Mo, Mo. Were either of you guys there for that night?
No.
That was pretty darn exciting, Jim. I have to tell you.
Well, that's cool.
Pretty gosh darn exciting. I still remember. Is Sidney Moncrief still coaching with the Bucks?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I think he's selling cars.
Is he? Hey, now, gentlemen, I see that we're coming up on the 2-minute warning. We're at 13:04. So, Bob, you want to go on to? We got about 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes, gentlemen, and we're going to have to close this segment down and post for our listening audience. Bob, any other topics there on the sports scene?
Not particularly, but I will tell you, I went on the internet, and Paul Mokeski is the head coach of the Reno Bighorns.
No way.
In the NBA D-League.
Wow. Okay. Reno. No kidding. Very good.
Yes.
Well, Jim, listen, then if I could ask you to, we want to bring a little bit of opportunity to have you as a special guest tonight. And by the way, Jim, thank you very much for joining us here tonight.
Thank you for having me on.
Jim, it's our pleasure. Now, could you tell our viewers a little bit about your nephew and his career?
Right now, he is with St. Louis, and I don't know if they're the Billikens, but I'm not 100%
I believe they are the St. Louis Billikens.
And he is now he is the third assistant coach for the Billikens.
Very good. So he and Bob, you sent me the link on that radio show where Majerus. Well, Bob, I don't want to take words out of your mouth. What did Coach Majerus have to say about Tanner?
He said that Tanner was, what did he say? Almost guaranteed that he'll be a Division I successful big-time coach.
Wow.
He said that when he was young, there was a coach that said the same thing about him, and he didn't believe it. And he says, "Believe me, this kid's going to be successful.
Oh, gentlemen, we're ending. I got to end it. Hold on. I just ended it. Shoot.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. You don't have to go anywhere. I can't stop it. Darn. Okay. Hold on. Well, we might need to do some editing here.